Welcome back to Cryptid Mysterious. Today's encounter is a creepy one. Comes to us from a hunting guide out of Utah. Let's get into it. I was running a part-time guide service at the time of this finding, predominantly located in parts of Utah. I worked for myself and could plug whatever I needed into my schedule when it came to my bookings. I had a paid client coming into town in 3 days and was doing my usual due diligence to locate a cougar for the hunt. Having run across some decent tracks over a 2-day period, I had pretty much decided where I was going to take the client and the dogs when he arrived for the hunt. He arrived on Thursday evening, and on Friday we entered into the area I had been finding tracks, and they were still there. I had 10 dogs at the time, and they were fearless trackers. If a cougar was anywhere in the area, they would have treated it for sure. I set them loose as they began to work, barking and running. We followed them into the hills. I think we were a couple of miles in when the dogs started to whine and group together, not willing to continue on the scent. This was very unusual behavior because the dogs were generally relentless in their pursuit, even though 2 of them had been on the receiving end of a mountain lion's claws in the past. As we worked our way up and through the pack, we came upon the body of a man that was placed on the ground between a group of boulders. He was most definitely dead, but didn't appear to have been there all that long, since the body was not very decomposed. The corpse was wearing just a plaid wool-type shirt and no pants, and the shirt was on backwards. It was the downright strangest thing you could imagine walking up on. He was placed on his side, and the leg which would have been facing us from this view had been removed from the body. From what we could see, and the size of the remaining wound, it appeared to have been torn from the body like a turkey drumstick. The man had a reasonably long beard, and appeared to have not so much as a bite or claw mark on the rest of his body. We were out in the area of Fish Lake and Green River when we found the body. When I say near, we were about 6 miles outside the border of the national forest and several miles south of the river. We gathered up the hounds and headed back to the trucks to get the authorities. We hiked back into the area with a number of policemen and a canine unit in tow. As we stood there, I commented on the fact that we were tracking an active cat in the area, but the body didn't seem to have been touched by a cat or anything else. Funny thing, the police dog wouldn't go anywhere near the spot, just like my own dogs wouldn't. As it turns out, a man was reported missing in the forest 3 days earlier by his wife, who had said he went hiking and didn't return when he said he would. His truck was found parked, and he had never returned to it. If this was in fact him, it's understandable why he didn't return. During our discussions about the deceased, I mused that, obviously, he hadn't come out here with just a woolen shirt. So where exactly were his clothes? And who would possibly murder a man by pulling a limb off his body? Not to mention the reversed shirt? None of us were able to wrap our heads around the removal of a man's shirt and putting it back on backwards, while disposing of the rest of the clothes. There was nothing else in the area around the body. No boots, pants, socks, underwear, backpack, or anything else for that matter. Well, guys, that's where the story ends. What do you think happened to this guy? It's definitely a mystery. Drop it in the comments if you have any ideas. And if you haven't already, I'd greatly appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button for me. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and if you've had an encounter with any kind of a cryptid, Bigfoot, or anything else, drop me an email at cryptidmysterious@gmail.com. I'd love to hear about it.